Joseph Gueary, my friend. How you doing?
Doing all right. Thank you for the opportunity. Nice to see you.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while. I was reminiscing. I don't know if you remember this, but we were in Italy together, and we were sitting at the little cafe on base, and we started talking about real estate. We started talking about investing, and then we were like, we should have this conversation more often, and we should invite more people. And then we started like a little meetup. Remember? And
Yes,
we called it the military officer. What was it? Military Real
Maria.
Estate MARIAC, Military Officer Real Estate Investment Club. That's what it
Yes,
was.
I remember. Actually, I had one of those pop up in my feed maybe last week, and I was like, "Oh man, I wonder how he's doing out there."
You were the original gangster that I started that with. And so MARIAC turned into Military Investor Network, and here's where we're at. What, 10 years later?
10, yeah, plus or minus 10
Plus or
years.
minus. Yeah. Well, it's good to see you, my man. Let's catch up. Let's give a little bit of background about who you are and what do you do.
All right, we can do that. I'll tell you though, I'm probably not as interesting as most of your other guests.
I disagree. I disagree because I know we've had some interesting conversations.
All right, how does this work? We're doing question answer, or you just want me to
Yeah,
ramble?
let's ramble. But so military background, what'd you do in the Navy? And then we'll transition into kind of like your transition out, talk about your investing and your businesses and all that kind of fun stuff. So first, let's start. Who is Joseph Gueary? Where you came from? What'd you do in the Navy?
Well, Joseph is probably still trying to answer the first part of that. Um, but I was a naval officer like yourself, although I chose a more glamorous surface warfare line of work.
Uh-huh.
About halfway through there, I turned into missile defense specialist or expert, or I don't know. They had all these terms for it back then, right? And from there, I became a phased array radar guy.
Okay.
And from there, I ended up because my children said, Dad, I want to go. Can we go to Italy? I took a logistics job in Italy, and that was probably the coolest job I've had. Just learning something totally new that wasn't my normal skill set.
Yeah. After our time in Italy together, where you went to Tennessee next? Is that and that's where you finished up?
I did. I went to selection boards there in Millington, Tennessee. So I didn't run the boards. I was the membership compilation guy,
Okay.
which is probably the second coolest job I've ever had because everything you do was bounded by policy and law.
Mm,
So it was, it's very rare in your military career that you have the power to say no.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And it
yeah.
was great because I could say no. The reference is here next, and it was great, but it was also a bunch of the bureaucratic mess that you don't want to see in that process, if I can say it that way.
No, that's fair. I like that. And so you did 20 years or did you do more?
20 and change, I think.
Okay. And how was that transition out from leaving military into civilian life? And what was that first transition? What did you do after getting out of the Navy?
So I've only had one job post
Okay.
Navy. I took 6 months off. I managed to because you're in Millington and you can read all the fine print. I managed to end up with about 110 days of basket leave or whatever you call that transition leave.
Yeah.
And during that time, I was doing all the resume stuff, the TAP or GPS, whatever it's called these days. Building the resume, making the contacts, going to the workshops, doing the interviews, going to the SAC events, which is always fun.
Mm,
And I I found that I didn't know what I wanted to do.
mm.
We were about a month and a half into it. Of course, my wife was like, you're still home. And I was like, I know. He's like, I just want to make sure that you're okay with being home because, we have a routine and you've kind of been enjoying messing with our routine for the last month or two. And so I just got more into it, jumping into more workshops, little assessment tests. And I even went back and did the Myers Briggs again. It's like, what do I want to do? What do I really want to do? So I had
Mm,
friends like, I just be a realtor. You love real estate. You've done investing. You mentor a lot of people. Just why don't you just sell real estate? I was like, yeah, that could be cool, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a realtor. I don't want to live it every day. I want to live it when I want to live it, type of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got a phone call from one of my previous COs, and he said, "Hey, you retired?" I was like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "I didn't get an invite." I was like, "Yes, you did." And he chuckled and said, it must have got lost in the mail.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a job? I was like, I am. He said, "Hey, take all your stuff down and I'll call you tomorrow." I was like, "Excuse me?" He said, "You trusted me before. Can you trust me now?" And I was like, "Okay." He said, "Yeah, just take your stuff down. I'll call you tomorrow." He calls
Wow.
me the next day as my brother is forcing me. I'm not the guy. You a lot of people out there, those handy guys, they fix on cars, they have a guy gene.
Uh-huh.
I don't have the guy gene. I can design it, I can give you the steps, but you don't want me to touch it. So my brother is forcing me to change my own brakes. I'm like, I know how to do it. I told my son how to do it. It's easy. He's like, yeah, you need to do it. I was like, no. And so I'm changing the brakes. This is only important because the call comes while I'm sitting up under the car, changing the brakes because I have to get that vantage point, my brother
Yeah.
calls it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, you're gonna get a call in 20 minutes. These are the things I need you to say. This is the starting salary you need to say. These are the benefits you need to say. I'll call you as soon as I get the debrief from that call." Click.
Wow.
And so he totally walked me through the whole process, even with, "Hey, this is what I want you to counter the offer with." And he says, "There's only one catch. You're moving to DC in six and 9 months." I
Mm.
was like, "Okay." So this was right at COVID. I retired the summer of 20, and so
Mm-hmm.
COVID was ramping up, and so we were headed to DC. So we started house hunting, and I called him about a week later, and I was like, "Hey, just let you know we're starting to plan our first trip to DC to start house hunting." And the vice president for or the I guess the lead for our business for my current business unit said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You don't move until I tell you to. So cancel that trip."
Oh, wow.
Okay. And then my client, if you will, he said the same thing a month later. "You don't move until I tell you to move." Okay.
All right.
So here we are in 26, and now I can't move because my wife doesn't want to move.
Mm.
And so I missed two promotion events, if you will. Um, and the funny thing is they call and they say, "We know the answer already, Joseph, but we have a package that you should take and it would help grow you in the industry and in the company, but you got to leave Tennessee."
Mm.
And I was like, "My wife is not going to DC." And they were like, "We know. Thank you very much." And and so that's how I got to where I am now. Still working for the same company because they're good people. I thought about leaving them once. I had an incredible job offer because I'm a scientist at heart,
Yeah.
and they were going to give me a funded lab, and it was going to be great. And this third interview, let's just say it wasn't what they said it was.
Mm.
But the company I'm with now, Circo, they told me to go. They're like, "Hey, this will be great for you. Go do it. When you're done, let us know. Go have fun, and when you're done, please come back." And this was only after 6 months with them. They're like, "We
Wow.
appreciate what you bring to the table, and we'll make a space for you when you're ready." But I decided not to leave because truth, faithfulness, and loyalty, should win out always.
That's great, man. So that transitions, I mean, besides like the 6 months of not really figuring out what you want to do, it sounded like it was a pretty good fit. And that's awesome to have somebody on your corner in your corner to kind of help you through that process.
Yeah. A lot of people say that, "Oh, it's in your network," or "Call me." You hear a lot of people say that, "Oh, call me. I got you covered. Call me." I called maybe 10 people,
Yeah.
and every single one of them were like, "Oh, yeah, this is how you update your resume to get you through." I was like, "Okay, well, you told me to call you because you had a spot for me, but you're telling
Mm.
me no, you want me to go and compete for it," which I'm okay with. But it was interesting when someone who actually wanted to take care of me, they did it, and it was literally a cakewalk.
Yeah. That's great, man. Well, you've done some investing and you've always been in business, kind of like side hustle stuff as well. Talk about that a little bit. Like I know you've done real estate. I know you've done a lot of things, but like what to kind of is exciting about that aspect of your life?
Wow. So I would guess the answer. So my 17-year-old asked me, that's well, I guess he's 18 now. Wow. Alexander's 18 now.
Dang, that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah. So the I guess the answer is I have this principle and it pretty much guides everything I do. It's gonna sound pretty weird the way I phrase it, but at some point in my life, my children are going to ask for something. When they were younger, I called it the ice cream principle. When your child asks you for an ice cream cone, Dad, I want an ice cream cone. I would like to be able to reach into my pocket and provide ice cream
Mm,
easily. But also, the Lego principle as I got older, right? If there's a cool Lego set and my children want it, then I feel like I should have the funds available, the resources necessary to give them the things that they want in life, not necessarily the silver spoon per se, but it's the little things. And to do those things, you have to build your assets. You have to build that cash flow so that you don't really, even on a rainy day, ice cream tastes good. And
it's
so
true.
one of the things I talk to young investors about all the time is money doesn't buy you happiness, but it helps. It's like I'm not going to tell you that I love money, but I love the things that money provides, which is, my son decided he wants to be a pilot, so I bought him a plane, which is why I'm cash poor right now.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, for all of us listening, let me tell you, we understand we understand business financing, we understand real estate financing. Let me tell you a new beast. It's called aircraft financing. And it was weird. I went through two brokers, and after the second one, I said, I'll just pay cash and deal with the consequences later. It was very interesting. They wanted, 25% down. What was it? 25% down, 6 months. Was it 6 to 10 months of payments in cash sitting in a bank account somewhere? And I was like, I have enough assets to cover it. If I have to do something weird, I'm more than capable. They're like,
Yeah.
well, we like to see it liquid and touchable. I'm like, okay. And then the second broker didn't say the same thing, but something equally, in my opinion, ridiculous. So I just backed out and said, I'll just pay cash, which
Dude,
my family, go ahead.
no, what I love about you, and every time, like, we talked when we were stationed together, and, I feel like we just like are catching up from old times. Like, what I love about you is you have these grandiose ideas, and you're not worried or not scared to go try something, right? You get educated on it, and then you go do it, and then you go try it, right? And you make the investment. Your son's interested in flight school, in being a pilot. What do you do instead of going just like to send him off to go take lessons? Like, you go and buy a plane, and you're like starting a flight school yourself. And I love that about you.
Yeah, my wife may not agree with some. Well, I'll tell you, I bought the plane because I'm cheap, right? In this area, flight lessons 2 to 3 times a week,
Yeah, it
was
gets
running me
expensive.
about 6,000 a month, about thereabouts. I bought a Cessna. I've actually got a great deal. I got a great deal on a Cessna for under 100,000,
Yeah, that's
and
good.
I paid cash, but I made myself a loan, which I'm sure many of you guys do,
Yeah.
and I'm paying myself back at way less than $6,000 a month. And I
Mm,
happen to find a plane. It's a proverbial. You find the Corvette in somebody's barn covered in a tarp. The granddad died. Nobody ever went in the barn. This is that plane. You
that's
know.
amazing.
So yeah.
That's good. What's lessons learned from military that have helped you transfer these skills in the investment world, the business world? Like, what have you found that has helped you kind of do the stuff you do
Mm,
now?
the ability to say I don't know.
Okay.
Um, we talk to a lot of people who we're in conversation and all of a sudden, you know, they start saying things and, you get that tickle. I try to say I don't know at every possible chance. It doesn't mean I
Mm,
won't figure it out. It doesn't mean that at all, but it means that I'm okay with what I don't know. I'm really good at some things. I'm absolutely amazing at some things, but there are things I don't know,
mm,
and I'm comfortable with that. And also, two things I guess for me that wrap into one: attention to detail and follow through. You These days it's hard to find an individual that will not only pay attention to the task, which is every nuance of the task, but
mm.
also will follow up. It's rare, and I just hired one, and I think he's going to be incredible. But I went through six to get to him.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing how easy a follow-up is, but so many people don't do it.
Yeah. I will hire one of us so quickly for the reason that I can simply say, hey, go do this.
Mm.
And they'll come back with questions or they'll go do the job. But I don't have to. I literally had a junior employee. Imagine I said, pick up the red folder and hand it to me. Do you mean this red folder? Do you mean the folder that's red, the one like right here in front of you that you pointed at? Like, I mean, I'm 10 minutes of questions about the red folder. And the task was literally that simple.
Just pick up the dang red folder. So I want to talk about investing. This is the Military Investor Network. You've done a lot of investing. You've done different strategies, assets, classes, some pretty random things. Like one, like can you give us just kind of a an idea of the different investments that you've made from airplane to real estate? I know you've done ATM machines. Like what else? What else have you been into?
Well, well, that's pretty much it. I love the aspect of real estate, the owning. We did, I started out with, I guess I started out with flipping, and from flipping to, we ran a real estate brokerage for a while. To we ran a couple crews for the flip and fix side, then opened up. Pretty much, we had a full scale, one shop network for flipping and resale and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, Let's see. Then I learned about what is it called? The self-directed IRA.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was doing some mortgage notes there, but then I got tired of paying attention to what's going on with them, with the notes and keeping all the payments. So I do primarily PPMs.
Yeah.
I find a good one, a good couple, and I just whenever I reaccumulate, I just kick it out. I try to keep my account as close to zero as possible.
That's
Um,
good.
but yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything really crazy. I tried. I saw online this guy was doing Amazon stores and whatnot. So I was like, Then I talked to him a couple of times, talked to a couple other people. So I opened one of those for my daughter. Didn't go so well.
No.
And she's like, "Oh, Dad, I'm glad you paid for it." I was like, "Yeah, I know, I know."
Oh, that's good, man. What would you say is the best investment you've made?
uh, the best investment is self-education.
Mm,
My son asked me that. He asked me that a couple weeks ago. He's been trying to get more involved in what I do on the side, and he's like, "So, Dad, what's the best thing you've ever done?" I was like, "The best thing is educating myself, sleeping, eating, exercising.
mm.
Because I can't make any money for your kids until if I'm not doing well. And so, the book says that I'm responsible for my grandkids. I'm storing up for them. He's like, but what about me, Dad? I was like, the moment my grandchild exists, you don't. And
Yeah.
he's like, Dad, that hurts. That hurts. I'm like, son.
He's already
So
taken care of. He's already taken care of.
well, he's taken care of today. I told him as soon as a child pops out, I'm breaking his plate, though. I probably
That's
shouldn't
good,
say
man.
that.
This is being recorded. He's gonna watch this. So, what about your worst investment? Have you had any of those?
Oh yeah. Oh, I've had a lot of those.
Yeah.
Probably the worst. The one that came up when I was reading through the questions was I bought Middle Tennessee. I bought a warehouse and two houses as a package deal. Partnered with someone I probably should not have partnered with, which
Mm,
is makes it a even worse deal.
hmm
Um, and then, the warehouse was okay, but we couldn't get it leased in a timely manner. And the guy I bought it from he said, "Oh, I've got a couple people lined up." And I was like, "Oh, great." And one we had four locations or four spaces. Two were leased, two were in negotiations, and the two houses were rented. So I was like, no brainer, right? As long as something's coming in, I'll deal with the outcome of it. Turned out it was a horrible deal. So
mm,
I ended up selling the warehouse back to him at a loss. But I kept the two houses, and I literally just sold them 2 or 3 years ago. And I bought a house in Florida so the kids could do the theme parks without costing me
hmm
an arm and a leg for the Airbnb.
Yeah, man. Lots of lessons learned there we could probably go into, but we'll share that
Yes.
for another time.
Yes, sir.
Um, advice to your younger, more handsome 20-year-old self. You're still handsome, but what would you give
Uh,
to what are you giving advice to for to your 18-year-old right now? What are you telling him?
Compound interest is real.
Hmm.
The math works. Do the math, understand the math, and start and store, save and put away. You make money. You owe for us in my house. We owe 10% to the good Lord. We owe 10% to ourselves, and then that 80% has to take care of our way of life and savings.
Love that, man. Love that.
Yeah. So my daughter's
Good.
doing well at that right now.
Yeah.
Really well at that. Better than I thought. But she comes and she'll sit down right here next to me in the office and with her little notepad, and we update her budget maybe every 6 months. And then she says, "Oh, I just change it all automatically, so I don't have to think about it. That way, if there's money in my checking account, I can spend it on whatever I want because that's what it's there for." I was like,
Mm,
"That's a way to do it. If you can maintain that for the rest of your life, you'll be a millionaire, right?"
that's right. That's right. What I do love about you is, I mean, I remember, like your kids were a lot younger, and you were teaching them early on, and I've tried to you inspire me to do that too, like just really teach those financial acumen early in life, get them set up and squared away. It's
Yeah,
good.
it's hard because we talk to our peers and we learn that they were never taught these things,
Right.
and I was never. There's a lot of things that I know now that I was never taught. That I've gone back and was like, Mom, Dad, do you know about this? What about this? And my dad's like, Ooh, I wish I'd known that 50 years ago. I'm like, me too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Last question for the audience watching this, listen to it, for the Military Investor Network. What would you ask of them? What advice would you give? Yeah. What do you want to leave this conversation with?
So I love that the network is already very active in communicating. I just don't stop that. I know I'm probably one of the worst because I get sidetracked with work and then especially now with the flight school, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
Um, but I try to jump in because there's so many good conversations that it's hard to find a group of equally minded individuals. And for this conversation, I'll say equally minded men to just have these open conversations and nobody's worried about what the next person is going to think of. And we're all designed at one thing. We want to be better, and we don't mind making everyone around us better as we get there. So
Mm,
I guess my one thing would be keep this going because it's beneficial to me, and I'm pretty sure it's beneficial to others also.
love that, man. Well, dude, it's great to see you. We need to catch up more often. I will give you a shout, and we're gonna talk some more. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your input. I appreciate your advice. I appreciate the friendship, and let's keep this thing going.
Hey, I'm available, man. Just let me know.
All
Thank
right,
you so
buddy.
much for the opportunity.
Yeah, dude. Good to see you.